Good grief, YouTube, it's been a bloody long time. How you doing, folks? It's James, JT at the Movies, finally back with you for my epic spring into the start of summer haul. I've got quite a lot of DVDs and Blu-rays to show you here, even a couple of 4Ks, which if you follow the channel you'll know isn't something I regularly pick up, so make sure you stick around. There'll be links to each different format in the comments section below. That's going to be DVDs, regular Blu-rays, boutique Blu-rays, and then the couple of 4Ks as well. I'm going to jump into some DVDs for you in just a moment's time, but I did just want to say, if you are new to the channel, please think about subscribing. On this channel I talk about collecting DVDs, Blu-rays and the occasional 4K, my love for physical media and my love for movies in general, all from my movie room here in the house. So if you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Let's jump straight into some DVDs, shall we? Because I'm not kidding, this stack's almost as tall as me, what you can see here. So we'll go with the first one. These are in no particular order. This is everything I've picked up since March, maybe the end of February 2023. I've been so busy with the band and with the tour, and I've been a bit unwell, and there's all manner of things that have just stopped me from making videos as much as I would have liked to. But enough of that, let's get into it. The first one is a TV season. It's Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, the complete second season. I'm a Scooby-Doo nut. I watched this the day I bought it and absolutely loved it. It evokes the same sort of style as the old new Scooby-Doo movie show that was the follow-up to Scooby-Doo Where Are You in the 70s, where they have celebrity and comic book guest stars. So they've got like Morgan Freeman, Batman and Robin. In this one, they even have the cast of Scooby-Doo meeting the characters, which I thought was quite a quirky little one. So yeah, absolutely loved that one. Picked this one up because it was finally available over here on DVD, so that I could complete my Pink Panther collection. This one's kind of like the... I don't know whether it's unofficial because it's made by the same people, but it's the only one that doesn't have Peter Sellers or Herbert Lom and Burt Kwok and all them guys in. This one is instead, I believe, Alan Alda in Inspector Clouseau. This next one, I'm probably going to do a follow-up video on this, and I'm actually, even though I've only just bought it in the last couple of months, I'm probably going to drop the 30 quid to import it from imprint from Australia, because this film moved me so much. I can't remember the last time a film left me just absolutely speechless, and that is Vince Vaughn, Anne Hesh and Joaquin Phoenix in Return to Paradise. Seriously, if you've not checked out this film, folks, there's a fantastic edition from imprint that's just come out, and I would thoroughly recommend picking it up. I'm going to be doing the same. I'm probably going to do a follow-up video on that film, because I don't want to talk too much about the films in this, because otherwise I'll be here for hours and you guys haven't got hours to watch me. Or maybe you do. Leave a comment down below if you'd like hours-long videos. I think I need to make these as short and as sweet to let you see everything in a timely manner. Anyway, in that vein, swiftly moving on. This next one was a charity shop pickup, and I picked this up purely for the fact of the cast and the plot. I've not seen it before, but it is Race to Space. I'm not expecting much from it, but I do love my sort of like, you know, my space-themed dramas. I picked this next one up. It's a TV season. I picked it up because we've got Paramount Plus, where the rest of this show is, but there are some episodes that are banned from TV streaming for various different reasons, and this set actually includes those episodes. So that is the 10th season of South Park. I got this for 50p, so I was very happy with that. There's a charity shop that I found near me that sells DVDs, and they, you know, multiple copies, multiple DVDs for £1 sort of thing, or individually for 50p. So I picked that up for 50p. Thought absolute bargain. Another one for my Sylvester Stallone collection now. This is one that I've never seen, but I know it's going to be terrible. But I am looking at building my Stallone filmography to the point where I've got everything that he's been in. The same with Arnie and Van Damme and Jackie Chan and the likes. So this was one that I wanted to pick up. Again, I got it from that same shop for 50p. I'll leave that one in for you. And it is Stop or My Mum Will Shoot, or Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Doesn't sound right with a Yorkshire accent, that, does it? Say mom? So I picked this next one up when I had a movie hunting day with Phil back in the spring, and it was one that was in a charity shop. I can't remember how much it was, but it was under £1 anyway, and I've still not seen it. And it is Phantom Thread with Daniel Day-Lewis, and it's so far his final film, and the film he said he's retiring on. So I hope it's a good one that he goes out on, because he's got some absolute bangers in his filmography. This next one, again, it was the cast and the premise that sold me. It's Richard Gere, Diane Lane in Unfaithful. I picked this one up because I'm curious to see it, but I'm not really prepared to drop the money on the Criterion edition if it's a film that I don't end up liking. This was another one from the shop where they were 50p, or I think like 3 for a quid, or whatever the deal ended up being. And it is Dustin Hoffman and Jessica Lange in Tootsie. This next film, again, is a film I'm going to probably do a follow-up video on both of them, and you might not think it when I show you what it is in just a second. But it, again, really moved me and really spoke to me. There was a lot of themes in it that really resonated with me. And it's a family-friendly sort of, I don't know, dramedy with a bit of music in it, and it's Fisherman's Friends 2, One for All, and it touches on mental health, and it touches on a love of music, and it touches on loss of a parent, and all things that are relevant to me and speak to me, and I really got a lot out of it. So I've been thinking about, you know, future videos I want to make on the channel, and I don't just want to talk about collecting. I want to make more, you know, top 10s and lists and things like that, and sort of let you know my opinions on things and snapshot reviews. So I'm definitely going to do a video talking about those two films and you know, how they sort of resonated with me. This next one I picked up just a couple of days ago, and it is to replace the copies that I've got. When I first started collecting DVDs and Blu-rays, as I've said before many times on this channel, I wasn't as shall we say, picky with my second-hand choices. I'd take a gamble on a scuffed disc, or you know, a sort of a case that had seen better days, sort of thing. And for the longest time I have had at least one of these films. I've got the Blu-ray of one of them now, but I've had one of these films on DVD in a really scruffy case that just every time I see it on the shelf I'm like, need to sort you out. But anyway, for £1 I got this lovely box set, still in shrink wrap, of Grease and Saturday Night Fever. So happy to add that to the collection for £1. I'm sorry about that, I just knocked the camera putting that on the shelf behind me. I love a good prison movie. I don't know whether this is going to be a good prison movie or not, but it was $6.99. It's Tyrese Gibson, Terrence Howard in The System. Following her death, Laura asked me to pick this one up because she was really curious to see it, because the clips started trending on TikTok from the film following, like I say, Tina Turner's death. I picked up the biopic from Brian Gibson, Tina, What's Love Got to Do with It? This next one I picked up at the same time I picked up the Grease box set I just showed you, and this is John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale in Serendipity. No idea whether it's any good or not, but I'm hoping it'll be sort of a similar sort of vibe and aesthetic to High Fidelity, because I really enjoyed that. This next one is a box set. I've actually got 2 of the films, but picked it up for the 3rd film in there. So it is a box set of Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller, and Some Kind of Wonderful, and I picked it up for Some Kind of Wonderful. This next one I thought was complete and utter trash, and I don't even know I'm going to keep it in the collection unless Laura wants to revisit it. I thought this was a real missed opportunity, and given the praise that it got from, you know, folks in the community and movie reviewers, both, you know, professional and you know, and happy amateurs like myself, I really went into it with my hopes really high, and I was really disappointed, and I just couldn't tell you why. It just felt, I don't know, it just felt really predictable, and it just didn't land for me, and I really wanted it to. Anyway, that was Megan, so really disappointed with that, and like I say, probably won't be keeping hold of that one. The next one, however, I bloody loved. I really was happy with this. Gerard Butler is one of my favourite actors of this sort of current generation. I sort of almost think he's this generation's Bruce Willis almost. He sort of does the, you know, the Die Hard type thing with the Has Fallen series, and he's the leading man, but he can do the romance, he can do the comedy as well, and I kind of feel like he's sort of occupying the spot that in the 80s and 90s Bruce Willis kind of occupied. But anyway, I think he's a really great dude, and whenever he pops out an action film or a drama or whatever, even the occasional rom-com, I'll give it a watch. This latest one was Plane, and I bloody loved it. Great film. Sort of really got to like the end of that film, and it was like edgy your seat stuff, and I was like, absolutely, just, yeah, loved it. The next one I picked up when it came out, and I'm really excited to see this one, and I've just not sat down to watch it yet, but it is the Whitney Houston biopic, I Want to Dance with Somebody. Picked this one up because, well, it was in a charity shop, and I'm a fan of the royal family and sort of all that sort of stuff that goes on there, and I find like these, you know, sort of royal dramas like the you know, The Crown and The Queen and King's Speech and the like. I find them sort of really interesting watching. I absolutely know that this is going to be just, you know, soap opera rubbish and really sort of exaggerated to all hell, I would imagine. But it is A Royal Night Out, which is the sort of I believe probably the fictionalized version of the night the two princesses, the late Queen and her sister, went out to sort of go and mingle with the public after the war ended. This next one I picked up for Liam Neeson. Again, I'll pick anything up that Liam Neeson's in, working towards completing his whole filmography within my collection, as he's one of my favourite actors. I don't know whether this is going to be any good or not, but I'm certainly willing to give it a go, and that's Made in Italy. The next one, again, it's another music biopic. I've been meaning to see this since it came out. I don't know whether it's going to be any good or not, but it'll be interesting to certainly watch. And that is Renée Zellweger in Judy, the Judy Garland biopic. Knocking this camera again for fun, folks, aren't I? You'll have to forgive me. This next one I picked up because I really enjoy these two actors, and especially when they're together. In, you know, obviously I think the collaboration that sort of comes to mind is the Ocean's movies. But yeah, I thought the trailer for this looked funny, and I am a sucker for a good rom-com. And that's George Clooney and Julia Roberts in Ticket to Paradise. A lot of folks were importing the Blu-ray for this one, and that's absolutely fair enough. But as you know me, if you're a regular on this channel, I am absolutely fine still with good old DVD. And as you can tell by this update, because we've probably shown you about 3,000 of the buggers, and I've not even got to Blu-ray or 4K yet. But this is Tom Hanks in A Man Called Otto. I was more than happy enough to pick this one up and stick with the DVD. This next one I had a lot of fun with. I really enjoyed the premise. I enjoyed the acting from all the actors and actresses, and enjoyed the story. I felt that it was a little bit of a sort of a bittersweet ending, really. I was really hoping that it might end a little bit more optimistically than it did. I suppose in a way it does, but in another way it kind of doesn't. Sort of a character has to fail for another character to succeed. It's kind of one of those sort of endings. But the film is Mona Lisa's Smile, and if you've not seen it, definitely check it out. I enjoyed this one as well. This is another sort of Elseworlds animated DC story, and it's a different take on Batman set in the 1920s, and it's got interesting takes on Batman, on Robin, on Batgirl, on some of the famous foes that we've known to sort of come and love. The third act, a little bit sort of left field. I mean, it was already doing something quite unique anyway, and then the third act really sort of went and took it somewhere that I wasn't expecting it to go. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either, and I kind of felt that it let it down a little bit in the end. But I'd still say that it's worth the watch, especially now that it's dropped in price, and that is Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham. Ooh. Anyway, I'm getting my stretches in today. This next one I picked up, and I remember exactly why I picked this one up, because my good mate Mike Woods, Cinema X-Man, picked this up and did a mini review in his pickup video for the month that he picked it up in. And it's a film that's been on my radar for years, but one that I've never really got round to picking up and watching for whatever reason. So after Mike's sort of glowing review of it, I decided, do you know what, it's finally time to pick it up. And I'm also a huge fan of Gene Hackman, and this is Behind Enemy Lines. I can't remember whether I showed this one or not in a previous update, so if I have, apologies, and I've not bought it twice for any eagle-eyed viewers. But this is one that I watched in the cinemas over the festive period last year, and certainly won't be watching it again until Christmas this year. But I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It kind of got a slating, really, but I don't see why this was never going to be a serious award-winning film. It was always meant to be kind of slapstick and, you know, gratuitous with the violence and the nonsense sort of thing. And it's David Harbour in Violent Night, which is basically Santa Claus meets Die Hard meets Home Alone, and make of that what you will. This next one I picked up because basically I love the filmmaker and I love the cast, but I've never seen it. Michael J. Fox in Peter Jackson's The Frighteners, so I'm going to be watching this one really soon. And then this one was just absolutely fantastic. I think this film is going to go on to be sort of remembered in the same sort of light as Spotlight and you know, and sort of films like that. It's Carey Mulligan and Zoe Kazan in She Said. This film is incredibly powerful, and if you've not seen it, I recommend watching it. We've only got a DVD release over here in the UK, which, like I say, for me is absolutely fine, but I believe you can get a Blu-ray release from America or from Europe. It's one one of the two anyway, if you're a Blu-ray purist. But I would even go so far as to say, even if not, get the DVD, because this film needs to be seen, it needs to be heard, and it needs to be watched. Great stuff. This next one, I've been waiting for it to drop in price on Amazon, and it finally dropped to a tenner for the box set, which ended up being, £3.30 a film, so was more than happy with that. The first one was on Netflix, and at the beginning of the year I watched it and absolutely loved it. And then when I found out that it was a TV movie series, and that, that there was two more of them, and that the guest stars that were in the sequels were just as big as the first one, I thought, well, I've got to watch it, because there were just too many reasons to track it down. So I've been waiting for it to drop in price, which is unlike me. I'm normally not a patient kind of guy. I'm normally the sort of guy that just goes click and buy. But I've tried to be a bit more what's the word? A bit more reserved with the spending. And it is the Warwicker trilogy starring Bill Nighy. So we've got Page 8, Turks and Caicos, and Salting of the Battlefield. So I've seen Page 8 and bloody loved it. And Turks and Caicos and Salting the Battlefield, I'm still to watch. This next one I picked up because, again, it's been on my list for forever and a day, and it's one that you hear people talking about. I've seen bits of it over the years, but I've never sat down and watched the full thing in its entirety, and I figured it was about time I was in on the joke, so I picked up Weekend at Bernie's. I picked this one up because I confused it for another film, and I can't remember what the title's film is, but I thought that this was a film about the American Civil War, and it is a film about the American Civil War, but it's not the film I thought it was, so I'm still on the hunt for the other one. But even still, it's got Tom Berenger, Martin Sheen, Jeff Daniels, so it's going to be a great watch with that cast, and it's Gettysburg. Has anybody else ever done that, sort of got confused and sort of misremembered a film and ended up buying the wrong thing? Or is it just me? Am I just a numpty? So I picked this one up for one film that's in it, because to buy the film on its own is extortionate. But this box set was 11 quid in HMV, and then I get 3 other great films in it as well. So I picked up the Gene Kelly collection for the film Anchors Aweigh, where Kelly and Frank Sinatra play sailors. And there's a fantastic scene in the middle of it, which I'm sure you'll have all seen, or at least seen it parodied, where Gene Kelly does a dance routine with Jerry the Mouse. It was written, of course, for Mickey Mouse, but they couldn't get the rights from Disney, so they went to Warner Brothers and MGM and got the rights from Hanna-Barbera and co to use Jerry the Mouse. But it's a real great film. I've not seen it since I was a teenager, and at the time this was not the sort of film that I would have watched, and it was one that ended up being on the telly on a rainy afternoon, and there was nothing else on, and channel hopping, and I ended up watching it and just falling in love with the story and the characters and everything else. So yeah, absolutely had to pick this box set up, and it comes well with Singing in the Rain, American in Paris, and On the Town. So I've got some great films there to watch as well, but I picked up the one that I wanted for a reasonable price. I picked this one up to complete a deal, and it was where it was sort of like 3 for a quid again in another charity shop, and I've been semi-curious to watch this since it's come out, but I'm not too bothered about it. But when it was like 50p each or 3 for a quid, I figured, well, I'm getting it for free, so I picked up The Wolfman. Not expecting much, we'll see. This one was in the same deal, and this was one of the ones I wanted to get, and that is The Stepford Wives. This next one is a replacement copy because, like I mentioned earlier, when I used to pick things up, I wasn't always as picky as I am now with second-hand titles. And the disc that I've got for this film is a little scuffed, and I know for a fact that it jumps just a second in one little scene, because I tried watching it with my sister and cousins a few years ago, and it's irked me. But anyway, I found another copy to replace it, and that is Michael Douglas in Don't Say a Word. Great little thriller, this. This was one that I was going to pick up on, I can't remember which boutique label it is now. It might be the HMV Premium Collection. And then I saw this in the charity shop when I was umming and ahhing it. And then the same day, saw it in the charity shop and thought, well, do you know what? I'll pick up the DVD. And it was in that same charity shop as the ones I've just shown you. So it was, 3 for a quid. So either way, I ended up getting it for free almost. And it is Jeremiah Johnson. Another one now for my Scooby-Doo collection, and this is Pup Named Scooby-Doo Volume 1. This next one is, again, another copy to replace a copy that's seen better days for my Nick Cage collection, and it is 8mm. And with that, folks, hey, I'm lying. I was about to tell you that I'd shown you all the DVDs, but I've not. I've shown you the first of 2 stacks of DVDs. There's some DVDs here that I've just bought today that I need to show you. So the first one is a film called Champions. I've not watched this yet. but the premise sounded really heartwarming, really moving, and sounded like it should be a good time. And I love Woody Harrelson as well, so I'm really looking forward to watching that. This next one is my father-in-law's fault for inspiring this. He loves this show and these movies, and quite often when we go over on a Saturday or a Sunday, he's watching the omnibuses of them on ITV3 and 4, and we watched this one, or one of the ones in this set, not so long since, and I loved it, and so I've been waiting to find it in a set, and it was in HMV today for a tenner, so I've picked up the On the Buses movie collection. And in there, it's got On the Buses, Holiday on the Buses, which is the one we watched and that I liked, and then Mutiny on the Buses. I might pick up the series as well down the line, but I don't know, I might not. The next one is Knock at the Cabin, the latest M. Night Shyamalan film, and I was really let down by that. The first 2 acts started great, and do you know what I think it is? Mild spoilers here, folks. Maybe jump ahead 20 seconds till you can see me talking about John Wick 4, which is the next one. But yeah, Knocking the Cabin. I was kind of expecting the usual sort of M. Night twist that we get, and obviously it doesn't come because it's adapted from somebody else's work. And I don't know why, but I was kind of sort of setting myself up for the fact of, well, what they said in the start of the film ultimately kind of comes true. And so it kind of felt like they were sort of setting you up and you're waiting for this big reveal or for it all to be wrong. And it just felt kind of lackluster and a bit of a letdown when ultimately everything you're told in the first 5 minutes of the film is what happens. Does that make sense? But yeah, I really didn't care for that one. Again, another one, unless Laura wants it, it might not be staying in the collection. It'll be on its way to a charity shop or wherever. And then, as I just showed you, just so that I could give somebody a spoiler, sort of a spoiler-free point to jump to, my latest pickup just today is John Wick Chapter 4. Now, I'm ashamed to say I've not seen any of these movies, and I'm absolutely disgusted in myself, and you guys should be too, that I've not seen them, because they seem to be modern action classics. But next week, I've got a few days off in the week because of how my shifts fall, and while my lovely lady is out at work, I'm going to have a little movie mini marathon and watch all 4 of them, I think, in a day, assuming it's not absolutely baking hot, and that otherwise I'll be out walking in the park or doing something in the sunshine. But assuming that we get that weather, I'm going to do a little mini marathon of those John Wick films. So we'll swiftly move on now, again in no particular order, to the Blu-rays that I've picked up since February. This first one is one that I picked up just last week. It is the remaster of Rocky. About to have that pile fall over then. The next one was one of the ones that I got where it was like included in any purchase. You get it at a reduced price in HMV, and it is Sing, the animated film. Looked a laugh, and the sequel looks fun as well. It's got Seth MacFarlane in it, so I thought, do you know what, I'll pick that up. This next one I've heard nothing but glowing reviews for. I missed it in Oscars season, didn't get to the cinema to see it. Thought about importing it from America, but then thought, do you know what, by the time I've paid import fees and whatever else, it's really not worth it when it's coming out here in June. So I got some money for my birthday last week, and picked it up with that, and that is The Fabelmans, which I believe, if I've understood it correctly, is kind of a sort of semi-autobiographical effort from Steven Spielberg. So I've got 2 copies of the next one here, and that is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I need to give another go because it didn't quite land with me. I really liked the first act, setting up the family. Really loved the last act where it's the emotional core of the film, and without spoiling it, it sort of gets where it's going. But the stuff in the middle with the multiverse, some of it landed and some of it didn't for me. I really just didn't sort of gel with it. But I think the reason that potentially I didn't gel with it as well as I would have liked to have done is because I bought the French version of the film because it was cheaper than importing the German version, but the French version doesn't come with English subtitles. Now, anybody who's seen this film will know that half of it is in, is it Cantonese or Chinese? But either it might even be Mandarin. But half of it is in an Asian language and half of it is in English. And obviously I don't speak the other language, so I was having to piece sort of half the story together based on facial expressions and, body language and whatever else. So there was no wonder I didn't probably get the full thing out of it. So I gave it another go by buying the German Blu-ray, which does have the English subtitles on it. And yeah, it still didn't 100% land with me. So I don't know, maybe I need to give it that third watch. I picked this one up just today, and I've been wanting to upgrade this one for the longest time. Probably one of my favourite modern horror films, if not my favourite modern horror film. I love Florence Pugh in it, if I could speak. So I've picked this up for the director's cut, and that is Midsommar. Picked this one up mostly for Laura, but I enjoy these films as well. They're just sort of torture, gore, porn, aren't they, really? Don't know if I can say that word. We're not on YouTube, whether my video will get banned or not. But anyway, it's Saw 7, the final chapter. This one I got for my birthday. It's Adam Driver in 65. And if you're wondering why I've not watched so many of these that I've bought in the last week, so it's because the weather's been absolutely glorious and I have not been in the house. The only reason I'm in here doing this now is because it's in the shade. My sister bought me this one for my birthday and I'm really excited to watch it. I absolutely loved the first one. I understand that this one doesn't land quite as well as the first one did, but all the same, I'm sure it's going to be a fun ride, and that is Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Picked this one up to complete my Rocky/Creed collection, so that already gives it away what it is. It is Creed 3 on Blu-ray. Now, I've not seen Creed 2, and I've not seen Rocky 5, nor have I seen the director's cut of Rocky 4, so at some point, probably in the winter, because it'll be a big old mammoth of a task, I'm going to do a marathon of the Rocky series and vlog them all for you. This next one I picked up a couple of weeks ago because I wanted to watch it, again for the cast, the premise, and the team behind it that made it, the team that made The Mummy from 1999. So I thought, well, I'm going to be onto a winner there. And I'm recording this on the day that the lead of it, Treat Williams, passed away. So rest in peace to him. Passed away at 71 in a motorcycle crash, which is a real shame. But this is Deep Rising. It's a Spanish import. I really enjoyed that film. It's so cheesy, it's so bad, but it's so bad that it comes round good again. This next one was cheesy and was bad, but didn't quite make it round to good again, which is a real shame because the cast and the premise could have been well, they are a fantastic cast and it is a great premise, so it should have been fantastic. But it's Jamie Lee Curtis, William Baldwin, and Donald Sutherland in Virus. Again, that's a European import. I believe that one's from Germany. This one is to replace a DVD copy. I picked it up for £4, I think, back in April, if memory serves. And it's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. The next two I'll show you in one go because they're to replace some DVD copies. And it is Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock Holmes 2, Game of Shadows. One of them was £1, the other was 50p. And I figured, you know what, it's about time I give those films a rewatch. We're getting murmurings that Downey Jr. is going to do number 3, so let's pick them up on Blu-ray. This is another one to go towards completing a filmography. This is a Martin Scorsese picture that I didn't have. He calls them pictures rather than films, so I'll call it a picture rather than a film. And it also goes along with helping me complete my Liam Neeson filmography as well. So 2 birds, 1 stone, and that is Silence. The next one is one that Phil recommended to me. He's really into his 80s sort of brat pack movies and coming-of-age movies. And this is one that I'd not seen, made by Francis Ford Coppola, and that is The Outsiders. This is one that I picked up based on the recommendation of somebody that I worked with, and it was also in the reduced sort of section when you buy something else in HMV. So I picked it up from there, and that is Weathering With You. It's an anime. I'm not really an anime guy, but I've been assured that that's a really good one to watch, and it is quite accessible for somebody that's sort of not normally involved in, you know, in that sort of medium. So yeah, I'll find out whether that's true or not. And then I've got 2 more to show you. This one was a laugh, but I don't know if it's aged very well. And it's Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke. This is the new Blu-ray release. Believe it or not, I've never seen that before. But again, Phil was like, you need to check that out. So I picked it up and I had a laugh with it. Am I going to rush to rewatch it? Probably not. And then this last one, the title was the one that really sort of intrigued me with this, and I've heard people talk about it before, but I don't know whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And that is The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then Bigfoot. That's a mouthful of a title, isn't it? So there we go. That's all the standard Blu-rays that I've got to show you. And then we're just going to have a little switcheroo back here so that I can get to my boutique collection pile here, so that I can do that. Can I do it without spilling them? Yes, I can. I've managed to keep this video so far just under half an hour with only 1 cut to make. See if you can spot where the cut is. I'm quite impressed with that, given the amount of titles that I picked up. The first one is a second-hand pickup from CEX, but it is the 101 Films release of The Three Amigos. This is a DVD upgrade for me. The next one is one to add to my Jackie Chan collection. It is Jackie Chan in Gorgeous. And this is a release, if I could speak, from 88 Films. I just had to check that I wasn't somebody else then. But yeah, 88 Films. Don't they put out some fantastic releases, 88 Films? Especially some of these old Asian cinema releases. I think this film has a few names, this next one. I'm trying not to rush, but I'm going quite fast at her. Yeah, I think this film has a few names, but over here it's released as The Wraith, and it's got Charlie Sheen in it and Randy Quaid. Yeah, absolutely looking forward to watching this one. And then I have, let's have a look here. I've got one from the premium collection, and that is James Garner in 36 Hours, which looks to be a bit of a sort of a time-based revenge thriller. So we'll see what happens with that one. But I'm loving the premium collection ones. The word on the street is that it's going away, so sort of get them now before they disappear. So every time I'm in there, I have a flick through and see if there's anything I fancy adding to the collection that I've got. I've probably got about, I don't know, 40 of them at the minute. So yeah, absolutely. If there's any of them that you want, get them before they disappear. I think that the Warner Archive label that's just come out in the UK is what's going to take its place. So we might see new titles and some of those titles reappearing on that label. But if you like that format, definitely get them picked up. So the next bunch that I'm going to show you are from the Indicator sale that happened way back in April, where they put a load of titles down at like a £5. So I picked up like 8 of them because I just couldn't not, really. The first one I'm going to show you is Michael Douglas, Jane Fonda and Jack Lemmon in The China Syndrome. The cast sold me on this, as did the premise. The next one is Sissy Spacek and Jack Lemmon in Missing. This one looks like it's got a really good premise as well. So yeah, the next one that I picked up is John Carpenter's Christine. This is an upgrade for me. This one is also an upgrade. It's Body Double from Brian De Palma. I've been meaning to pick this one up ever since I saw Sidney Poitier in is it Deadly Pursuit, the one where he's looking for the killer that sort of mingles in with the hikers and pretends he's a hiker, and it's Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. And then another one from Sidney Poitier. I hope I'm pronouncing that chap's name right. He deserves that because he's a brilliant actor. And it is To Sir With Love. I understand they did a sequel as well. That's actually one of the few sequels that recaptures the spirit of the original. The next one is Jack Nicholson in a Tony Richardson film, The Border. And then the last one to show you is a film from Paul Schrader with Richard Pryor, Yaphet Kotto and Harvey Keitel, and that is Blue Collar. So then I've only got 2 4Ks to show you, and then I've shown you everything that I've picked up over the spring and into early summer, and it's been quite a haul, hasn't it, to be fair. The first one to show you was one that I wasn't going to get, but I decided that I was going to get it because it was labelled wrong. It was priced wrong in Asda, and it was priced as a Blu-ray. I've got the Steelbook Blu-ray edition of it, but for £7 I couldn't let the 4K of Shawshank Redemption go. So I'm going to keep both copies because the Steelbook's gorgeous, but I mean, to have it on 4K for that price, it just seemed like a no-brainer for me. And it's one of those films that you kind of want to future-proof anyway. And then this next one, I would have happily picked it up on DVD or Blu-ray, to be fair, but 4K was the only way to get the director's cut. So that's why I've only picked up this one and not the rest of them. And it is Sylvester Stallone in Rocky IV. And with that, folks, that is everything that I've picked up over this spring, early summer period. And I hope that you've enjoyed it. Thanks so much for bearing with me through this video, but also while I've been away. Like I say, I've not been too well over the last few weeks, and I'll talk more about that when I feel comfortable to do so. But not something I really want to get into right now. And I've had to get my head around a few things. And then, as you know, I'm in the band Leaving Overmorrow, and we've been incredibly busy with our debut album. We toured it around the UK. We did around the UK. We did London, we did Leeds, Newcastle, and Belfast. And managed to sell out or near sell out all the shows, and obviously the albums doing really well on streaming for for unsigned musicians, and we're just really so proud of it. Please check that out if you haven't found it. It's called Leaving Overmorrow, This Too Shall Pass on Spotify. And then yeah, I've just had lots of things going on, a really busy work life, a really busy home life, and it's just sort of one of those things when you get to the end of the day and you're like, do I have the energy to set the camera up and start talking and bring this the passion that it deserves for you guys to watch it, and I haven't had it, and so that's really the absence explained in short. So genuinely thank you, because whilst I've sort of, you know, been a bit lackluster. I've hit 500 subscribers, which was always a goal of mine, and I said thank you for that in a previous video, but I want to reiterate that I have got some exciting plans for the channel. I'm not going to announce them because I feel like I do this. I announce the plans and then I'm not able to live up to them. So I'm gonna post videos when I can. There's definitely going to be a video this coming weekend of the 17th and 18th, because I'm seeing The Flash on Thursday night, so I'll be doing my spoiler-free and spoiler thoughts in the same video. So I'll do spoiler-free at the start and then tell you to jump to the end if you don't want spoilers after a certain point in the video, and that'll go live Saturday or Sunday when I've recorded it. I've got some stuff for the James Bond series that I've been working on for Never Say Never Again in the background. I've got a bit of a film challenge. Like I say, there's the mini John Wick marathon that I want to do. I've got some stuff that I want to do around Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So there's all sorts of things that are coming up over the next few sort of weeks and into the summer to look forward to. But what I'm not going to do is put any sort of time scale on that, because I just feel like it adds pressure that I don't need right now. And hopefully you guys will enjoy the content as it comes to you. Thanks for letting me explain that. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, drop it a thumbs up. Lets me and lets YouTube know to keep making videos like this. Let me know your thoughts on any of the pickups. I know there's quite a few to talk about down below in the comments. I'd love to know if there's any of the films that I've not seen yet that I need to be putting on my watch list to watch straight away, or if there's anything that you think I should be picking up based on the, you know, based on what I've shown you here. If I could speak, that'd be a wonderful thing, wouldn't it? If you're not already subscribed as well, folks, like I said at the start of the video, if you could subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. It helps the channel to grow, and it allows me, of course, to get to see you and get to know you over future videos as well. Above all else, folks, stay safe in this scorching heat, look after yourselves, and I'll see you real soon. But bye for now. Cheers.